When you have set up your problem, you just add like normal. And then you bring the decimal down, and you should get 18.52. When you subtract decimals, you should subtract like normal. So this should be 9, and then you borrow whenever borrowing is needed, just like in normal subtraction. And then you place the decimal straight down, and you should get 12.79.
After you have set up your problem, you just multiply like normal integers. And then you move your decimal 3 places to the left because this one is 2 places to the left and this one is 1 place. So you add them up and you get 3. So your answer is 2.814. First, you move your decimal place of the divisor to the right, and then you do the same thing to the dividend. So now it's 2 dividing 10.6, and your answer should be 5.3.
First, you figure out what the inverse property is, and in this case, it's addition. So you add 5.8 to 5.8, and then you cross that out, and it becomes W. And then you add 5.8 to 1.2, and then that should equal 7. And then, so W equals 7.0, or 7. To solve your problem, the first thing you need to do is figure out the inverse property, and in this case it's subtraction. So you subtract 3.91 from itself and you cross it out and you get K, and then you subtract 3.91 from 28, and then you just borrow whenever borrowing is needed, and you subtract like normal, just like how we've learned in our subtraction lesson, and then you should get K equals 24.09. So after you have set up your problem, you just look at that and then you solve like how we've learned in the past 2 lessons with subtraction and addition. So this one equals y, and then this one, 1.44 divided by 1.2 should equal 1.2 because as you can see, it equals 1.2 from the division that we did off to the side. Finally, for our last problem for today, we're going to be using our inverse property multiplication. So first, you add 8.2 and multiply it by itself, which you cross out and make it into an n. And then you multiply it by 0.6. So you just multiply it like regular. And then you add the decimal. So this should be 1, and then this is 0. You add it as a placeholder. And then you just add like normal. And you add it up. And then you move it 2 times to the right, because 1 plus 1 equals 2. And then you should get n equals 4.92.
First, you set up your problem, which is 6 plus 3 over 15, and then you just add them like normal, so it equals 9 over 15.
So for subtraction, it's sort of the same thing, except in this problem we have different denominators. So first, how you find the LCM, there's 2 ways, but I'm going to be telling you the way that I think is easier. So basically you just take the numbers and you multiply it by the other number's denominator. And so this one would be 24. You would multiply it by 24. And so when you're done multiplying, you just get this number, and then you would just subtract like normal. So then your answer should be 18 over 48, and you can simplify that by multiplying or dividing it by 2. So then after you have divided it by 2, your answer is 9 over 24, and then you can also divide that again by 3. So then we're going to move our answer over here because there's not a lot of room. And so then you just divide it by 3, and then your answer should be 3 over 8.
First, you set up your problem and you put 1 multiplying -2, and then you put 4 multiplying -3. And then you see if you can cross out. And so you can cross out this one and divide it by 2, 2 equals 1, and then this equals 4 equals 2. So then you get 1, 6, and it's negative. The first thing you do is keep 3/4 the same and flop 6, 7. So then it becomes 3 over 4 times 7 over 6. And then you see if you can cross anything out, and you can cross 3 out to become 1 and 6 out to become 2. And then your answer should be 7 over 8. The first thing you do is subtract 1 6 from 1 6, and that cancels out and makes n. And then you subtract 1 6 from 5 6, and that becomes 4 6. So your answer is 4 6. And then you can simplify that into 2/3. The first thing you do is add 1/5 to 1/5, and that cancels out just like the subtraction problem, and it becomes n. And then you add 1/5 to 3/5, and that becomes 4/5. So the first thing that you want to do is find the reciprocal of your first number, and then so you would just flip it over and it would become 5 over 1, and then you multiply that by 1 over 5, and it becomes x, and this crosses out. So then you multiply 5 over 1 with 4 over 1, and then your answer should be 20. Just like in the last problem that we went over, you find the reciprocal of your first number, and so the reciprocal of 6 over 1 is 1 over 6. So you add that on both sides, and then you multiply. So this one would become y, the answer would be y, and it crosses out, and then this one would equal 1 over 12. So the answer is y equals 1/12.